Hello everyone, I hope that you are doing well. So without wasting any time, let's move to the newspaper. First we will identify the important news and then we'll move on to the analysis section. So this is Tuesday, March 29, 2022, paper Delhi edition. Okay, so we'll be identifying the most important news. Let's see. Protest in Lok Sabha has bill envisages lifting of biometric of detainees. Okay, it is important news because there is mention of Lok Sabha bill and biometrics and detainees. So these are important keywords with respect to our examination. We'll see what it is. Fine. And there is no more important news on this page. Nothing on this page per se related to examination. Nothing on this page also. Nothing on this page also. And on this page there is nothing else. Yes, there is one news. Kozhikode to vie for UNESCO City of Literature designation. Okay, it may be important. Why? Because when Hyderabad was declared City of Trees, then it came in examination. So we'll see what it is. Fine, let's move further. And there is a mention of Malabar Rebellion or Mopla Rebellion. So it becomes important part of statics. We won't be going into detail of this news, but just mention it in your static notes so that you can revise it before examination. Okay. After that there is not much news on this page related to examination. As far as articles are concerned, there is nothing much. Yes, there is one on BIMSTEC. Okay, the sub-regional grouping that must get back on course, so it is on BIMSTEC. We must see it. After that the JCPOA continues to be elusive. Just know about this JCPOA. Other things are here. The author's own what we say, the author's own ideas. Fine, his personal ideas. So and as far as exam is concerned, JCPOA won't be coming as a separate question in mains, and in prelims it won't be asking any viewpoints, so it is irrelevant. Yes, for interview point of view it may be relevant, but right now we are not very concerned about that. A contributor, not consumer. Okay, this tagline is important, nothing else. Just know this, what is the purpose of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Fine. After that, on text and context page, yes, it is phenomena of coral bleaching. Every time very important news it is. It is a for evergreen news, important news, so we must look at it. And detecting microplastic in human blood, it is also important because microplastic, we have heard till now that it enters into what? It enters into the ocean ecosystem, the mangrove ecosystem. For the first time we are hearing that it can also enter into human blood. So we'll see what the article has to say about it. On text and context page, the Start of India initiative, yes, it may be important if you have to, but right now I don't think it is important, because wait till the mains, one month before mains, and then you should analyze the scheme, because till that time you will have a data that is more recent, right? Now let's move further. There is nothing much here on these pages. Nothing here, nothing here. Yes, there is one news here. Lok Sabha not to include 2 tribes on Tripura's ST list. We'll see how Lok Sabha or how the parliament has this power. We'll see to it. And after that there is nothing much here. Yes, there is one thing. Georgina Saral sees geography only, and elephant death panel has been looking into it, and World Wildlife Institute of India has mentioned, has been here, so it becomes important to know about WII, and nothing else here. And after that on this page there is nothing much related to examination. Yes, on business page there is a news. India has no plan to purchase Russian oil in rupees, says Teli. Okay, fine, we'll see why India is saying this, what is Indian stance. And apart from that there is nothing important related to examination. On the sports page also there is nothing much. Okay, so here we come to end of the analysis of the identification section, and we move on to the analysis section. Okay, so in the first news, there is protest in Lok Sabha as bill envisages lifting ban on biometrics of detainees. Fine, so it is lifting biometrics of, it is not ban, lifting biometrics of detainees means the bill is seeking what? Bill is seeking to have the record of biometrics of the people they have detained. Now let's see what is the provisions of the news, and then we will see how it is a problematic issue, why there has been such unrest in Lok Sabha, right? Why there has been such protest in Lok Sabha. Let's see. The Criminal Procedure Identification Bill 2022 would allow would allow the police and prison authorities to store and analyze physical and biological samples, including retina and iris of convict. Okay, so they will be doing what? They will get the retina as well as the iris scans of the convict. Initially they used to have what? They used to have both the finger impression as well as foot impressions for limited category of convicts. Now the new bill expands the scope of measurement to include iris signature, handwriting, and biological samples. It also proposes to record the details of person detained under any preventive detention law. Now the opposition is saying what? The opposition is saying that it will be used against the political adversaries by the government of the day. If a person with no criminal background is released without trial or acquittal by the court, all record of measurement so taken shall be destroyed. Fine. The record will be stored for 75 years. So these are the various provisions. You must remember these provisions because it is exam relevant. Okay, what is the problem then? The problem is, it is saying that it is beyond the legislative competence of parliament as it infringes the fundamental right to privacy. But the opposition is saying that it is infringing the fundamental right to privacy. NCRB will be the repository body for this. Okay, the National Crime Record Bureau would be the repository of repository body that will have the physical and biological samples, signature and handwriting data that can be preserved for at least 75 years. So these are the various viewpoints. It is saying that it will be curtailing right to privacy. Let's see how this news unfolds. But as far as now it is concerned, the bill has been tabled in Lok Sabha, and let's see what happens after this. Fine. Now we'll see again one more news on this page. Breakdown in neutrality of Odisha bureaucracy. Not per se very important with GS 1, 2 and 3 part, but with respect to GS 4 ethics paper, it is very important. Why? Because the keywords are used: neutrality, bureaucracy. These two keywords are very important, and this is directly mentioned in the syllabus. Fine. So we'll give it a read first. Just give it a read. The BJP and Congress in Odisha said on Monday that there was complete breakdown in neutrality. Okay. There was let me first enlarge it, zoom in. There was a complete breakdown of neutrality, okay, in the state bureaucracy. After complete breakdown on neutrality of the state bureaucracy. Why? Because a day after senior IAS and IPS officer congratulated Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik for Biju Janata Dal victory in rural and urban local body polls. It is saying that since the senior IAS and IPS officers have congratulated Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik for Biju Janata Dal victory in rural and for his party victory in rural and urban local body polls, this means that they have a kind of commitment towards them, and hence their neutrality is lost. And neutrality we know is one of the pillars of bureaucratic ethics, right? So breakdown in neutrality means breakdown in bureaucratic ethics, which is not good for the governance of the country. So in this context, it is saying it is very important ethical viewpoint with respect to ethical viewpoint, right? The opposition party said bureaucrats have become collaborators in political activities. Now this is a good keyword, but we have to use it very, very sincerely, and we have to take a very calibrated stand on using these keywords, because it may go against our exact point what we want to convey. According to Chief Minister's Office, Chief Secretary and DGP Sunil Kumar Bansal on Sunday led IAS and IPS officer respectively to congratulate Mr. Patnaik on twin wins. This vindicates our allegiance that BJD has been winning polls using state machinery. Okay, now they are saying that BJD has been winning polls, they have been using state machinery and illegal means to winning polls. This is more of kind of a political thing. We are not concerned with that. Congress leader Satya Nayak said that bureaucracy is the real cadre of BJD. They congratulate Naveen Patnaik on his party victory. It is violation of service code of conduct. Now we have to see, and I think it may be, it can hold ground that it is a violation of service code of conduct. Fine, but look, there can be two viewpoints to this. Yes, if they have done it to gain the to be in the good books of the political masters, then it is definitely a breakdown in neutrality. And if they have done it in a gesture of just congratulating the winning person, then it is not breakdown of neutrality. In fact, it is more holding together the neutrality of your bureaucracy, because if another party would have come to power, then they would have also congratulated them. So we have to see what is the actual background to this, and what is the actual motive behind this. Okay, prima facie it may feel that neutrality has been broken, but we have to see. It is very, ethics is always has the both dichotomy and duality associated with it, right? So without wasting any more time, let's move to the next news. Let me zoom out. Okay, so there is nothing much here, and on page 2 there is nothing, on page 3 there is nothing, on page 4 there is nothing, on page 5 there is nothing, on page 6 we have a news, actually two news. Kozhikode to vie for UNESCO City of Literature distinction. It is a very important news. It is definitely a very important news, because in any PCS examination or any examination of UPSC, it will be there, it will come. not directly, indirectly, and I hope that I think that in PCS it will come directly. Okay, very few cities in Kerala perhaps boast the legacy to write their own via. We don't have to go there. Quite natural. Kozhikode was proposed by Kerala Institute of Local Administration to be branded as City of Literature. City of Literature with help of UNESCO. Okay, so they have been writing to UNESCO to brand it as City of Literature. It is among the 6 places that KILA, okay, Kerala Institute of Local Administration, plans to develop creative cities. Thiruvananthapuram will become City of Peace. Kollam, City of Biodiversity. Fine. Kochi, City of Design. Thrissur, City of Learning, and Kannur, City of Craft and Folk Arts. Okay, then there are 6 cities related here. Fine. All the things are okay. I'm just a bit skeptical about this Thiruvananthapuram being the City of Peace because of the ongoing issue of Nokku Kuli. Okay, you just find it out what it is. I have already explained the day the article has come. Okay, you find it out on internet what exactly it is, and you will get the gist of it. Why I'm saying that it may go against this KILA asking for declaring Thiruvananthapuram as City of Peace. Fine. And apart from that, there is nothing much. Just know that it is which body will be doing this. UNESCO will be doing this. Fine. Which city? Kozhikode for City of Literature. Fine. And there are things according to an official website on Parag. A city designated as Creative City of Literature must have sufficient number of institutions taking care of its literary life. So there must be sufficient number of institution. Okay. Now, and everything else is not of that important. Fine. Let's move to the next news. Decision on Malabar Rebellion Martyr deferred. Just look at the timeline and event of mostly timeline of Mopla Rebellion. It coincided with the non-cooperation movement in India. Fine. Have a look at it. It is more of a static kind of news. Okay. Nothing on this page. We'll come to the editorial at last as usual, and there is nothing on these pages. Okay. Now let's move to this page. There is nothing much on this page. Yes, Lok Sabha not to include 2 tribes on Tripura state list. The Lok Sabha on Monday passed a bill to include the Darlong committee as sub-tribe of Kuki tribe. Okay, moving the constitution scheduled tribe order amendment bill 2022 in Lok Sabha. The tribal affairs minister Arjun Munda has moved this bill. Okay, so why in Lok Sabha a state the scheduled caste of a state is being discussed or given nod by Lok Sabha? What are the provisions? We have to see. Let's see the internet. What are the actual provisions? Okay, find how government identifies SC and ST. Okay, so we'll see here. According to Constitution of India under Article 314. Okay. According to Constitution of India under Article 314, President of India after consultation with Governor may specify caste, race, tribe or parts of a group within the caste which shall be deemed to be scheduled caste. Accordingly, the President has notified the scheduled caste in order called Constitution Scheduled Caste Order 1950 and Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe List Modification 1956. Okay. However, under Article 341 Part 2, the Parliament of India by law can include or exclude above mentioned group from list of scheduled caste. You understand now? So President of India after consultation with the governor may specify certain caste or tribe or part of that caste or part of that tribe to be a part of scheduled caste or scheduled tribe. Okay, fine. And for that the order has been notified by the President, accordingly called the scheduled caste order called the Constitution Scheduled Caste Order 1950 and the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe list. Similarly, there is moving Constitution Scheduled Tribe. Okay, Constitution, let me change the pen color. Constitution Scheduled Caste Scheduled Tribe Order Amendment Bill 2022. Fine. So this is what I wanted you to know, that yes, the President on recommendation of the after consultation with the governor may do these things, and since the President has done something, so it will be discussed obviously in Lok Sabha and the Parliament. Fine. Okay, now let's move to the another news. Is there anything else on this page? I don't think so. Georgilla Tunnel work apace, deadline advanced. And there's the Georgilla tunnel. Okay, it will be long multiple tunnel to cross the Georgilla mountain pass. Fine. So Georgilla tunnel will be there to cross the Georgilla mountain pass. It is written over here. From Sonmarga in central Kashmir. Okay, central Kashmir. Look at it, because often the question from this section comes regarding the geography of this section, where it is in central Kashmir, or it has once asked Nubra Valley when it was in news, then once it has asked Galwan Valley after the standoff. So this place, the Kashmir region, is always important. The Nilgiri region is always important. The Middle East is always important. The Indochina region is always important. So these regions we must know. Fine. The deadline by 2 years for all weather connectivity road, 18 kilometer long multiple tunnel to cross the treacherous Georgilla mountain pass. Fine. And why do we need it? All weather road, because of the increased Chinese muscle flexing. Fine. If possible, let me show you the Georgilla pass on map. That would be best, in best of our interest. Let me see this map, what it has to promise about. Let it open. Okay, so here is your Georgilla pass. You can see Georgilla pass. I can't use the pen here over here. So look, there is a Georgilla pass here. Fine. Let me see some more images if possible, so that it becomes easy. No, there are nothing much here. Just understand the gist that yes. Let me see the images if I can get something for you. Okay, nothing much is here. So we understand this. After this, let's move on to the next news. Panel to look into elephant death. Yes, elephants are dying. Obviously, on railway tracks we find elephant carcasses because of collision with train. Okay, now WII, Wildlife Institute of India, has come to assist whom? To assist Ministry of Rails and Environment, Ministry of MOEFCC. Fine. So a committee will be there having representatives from all three and some other stakeholder, and they will look into the matter to reduce this jumbo and rail conflict, right? There's only this thing. Read about WII, it will be important. Okay, and after this, let's move on to the next page. Is there anything? I don't think so. Yes, India has no plans to purchase oil in rupees, says Teli. Teli is the minister. Okay, and he says that India has no plans to purchase Russian oil in rupee. It is saying India is not considering to buy oil from Russia or any of other countries using Indian rupee. Fine. After Western nation has told the junior oil minister on Monday, after Western nation imposed sanction on Russia over invasion of Ukraine. Fine. This is the news, and look, this part is important. Why India is getting oils to Russia? Because of they are getting through spot tenders, taking advantage of deep discounts, while other buyers shun purchases over Moscow. Now, since other buyers are not purchasing oil of Moscow, so India is purchasing because it is giving deep discounts now. Okay, and why we don't used to purchase oil from Russia, although we had a good relation with Russia, the only reason was high freight cost. Okay, there was a high freight and transportation cost of oil from Russia to India, and therefore we abstained from getting oils from Russia. Fine. There is only this thing, and what is the meaning of this thing? Russian oil in rupees. We are not going to buy Russian oil in rupees. Yes, there was talks about it that okay, India will be buying Russian oil. There will be a rupee ruble mechanism. Okay, these all things are going on. Rupee ruble mechanism, but for now we are certainly sure that till now we are not in a mood to buy Russian oil in rupees. We will be using any other standard currency like dollar and all those things. And in fact, we are not directly buying from Russia, but we are buying from other agencies that in turn buys oil from Russia. Okay, fine. So we'll see any other news on this page. If there it is, no, there is none. There is none. There is none. And so let's move on to the editorials quickly. Now there is one editorial, very important, a sub-regional grouping that must get back on course. What happened is, yes, Bpsc is the need of a framework to tackle the specific challenge confronting the Bay of Bengal region. So there are specific challenge in Bay of Bengal region, and Bpsc can be a solution to that. Okay, this framework. Fine. While the world is busy with Ukraine and Russia, there is a meeting of BIMSTEC scheduled, which will be hosted by Sri Lanka, which is the current BIMSTEC chair. Okay, fine. In 1997, the 7-member BIMSTEC was made. Okay, and there are identified land of 14 pillars of special focus. There are how many pillars? 14 pillars. So whenever we have to write about any grouping, these 14 pillars can come handy. Okay, these are trade and investment, obviously, transport and communication, energy, tourism, technology, fisheries, agriculture, public health, poverty alleviation, counter terrorism and transnational crime, environment and disaster management, people to people contact, cultural cooperation, climate change. So these 14 points, this is more or less related to our syllabus. Look, trade and investment, GS3, transport and communication, GS3, energy, GS3, tourism, GS3, technology, GS3, fisheries, agriculture, GS3, public health, GS2, poverty alleviation, GS1, counter terrorism, GS3, okay, environment, GS3, people to people contact, maybe GS2, maybe GS1, cultural cooperation, GS2, GS1, and climate change, GS3. Okay, so every part of our syllabus is contained in this 14 point. Fine. Now it is saying that recently there was a dialogue. Bay of Bengal Maritime Dialogue was organized recently by Center for Humanitarian Dialogue and Pathfinder Foundation. Okay, fine. And after that we have to see what did the participants called for: step up efforts in areas of environmental protection, scientific research, curtailing illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing, as well as development of a standard operating procedure that could govern interaction between fishing vessels of one country with maritime laws and enforcement agencies of other. Okay, so these are the things on which matters on which they have come called for. Okay, these are the goods of Bay of Bengal. It is a very rich marine system, not only marine, but it has very strong estuarine system. Okay, it has a lot of wetlands as well, so it is a very important both with economy as well as ecological point of view. What are the challenges of Bay of Bengal region? This is important. Emergence of dead zone, hypoxic zone, what we say, where zero oxygen leads to no fish survival. Leaching of plastic from rivers as well as Indian oceans. Destruction of natural process against floods such as mangroves. Sea erosion, growing population pressure, industrial growth in the coastal areas, and consequently huge quantities of untreated waste flow. Security threats such as terrorism, piracy and tension between countries. Okay, so these are the challenges. Fine. So what we need a global regional interaction. Blue economy potential, matlab economy of water is very high in this region, so we can develop maritime opportunity. What are the opportunity? Maritime trade, shipping, aquaculture, tourism. However, tapping this opportunity requires what? Coordinated and concerted action by government, scientists and other experts. The BIMSTEC summit must create this mechanism so that we can utilize these opportunities. Fine. And after that it goes on to say that what should be the priority area? Marine environment protection should be the priority area of BIMSTEC. Fine. Enforcement must be strengthened and information shared on best practices. So there must be better enforcement as well as better information sharing. Okay, decision making must be based on science. The decision making should be data driven and rational. It is trying to say that only. Okay, there was a program called Bay of Bengal program, an intergovernmental organization based in Chennai. Fine, it is doing good work. And there was one more thing, here it is, and BOBLME, Bay of Bengal Large Marine Ecosystem Project, also being launched by FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, with funding from GEF, okay, and others. So the author is saying that BIMSTEC should submit, but the BIMSTEC summit should express the full support to both BP and BOBLME. Fine. And apart from that, it is just saying the challenges that confronts Bay of Bengal region requires no more delay. BIMSTEC must arise, awake and act before it's too late. It is the arise, awake and act, Swami Vivekananda's word. Okay, before it is too late. So the article is very simple. Still it has highlighted many important points that could easily make up our 2 or 3 points of our answer, especially these 14 point agenda. This could act as a boon for answers that we don't exactly know regarding two states, like if they ask what is the current situation of India-France relation and we have not read that, then in those conditions these 14 points will become our savior. Fine. So we must remember these 14 points, and in any international relation these 14 points can be used. In any international groupings this can be used. Even if India's focus is concerned, this can be used. Fine. So in any way kind of question, this is very important thing. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. These are just remember JCPO, P5 plus Germany. Okay, so these and plus Iran obviously to contain the nuclear increase of Iran. Fine. The contribution not a consumer. Atmanirbhar Bharat is neither protectionist nor isolationist. It refers to a self-reliant India dealing with world on its own term. You understand now? It refers to what? Self-reliant India. Atma Shakti. Atma Shakti. Fine. Why? Because paradhin sapno suknahi. The person who is a slave cannot even dream of happiness, cannot even have dream of happiness. Fine. So what we are doing? We are becoming Atmanirbhar. We are becoming self-reliant. Why? Because when we become self-reliant, we become independent, and when we truly independent, and when we become truly independent with respect to any sector, then we can have our say in global economy or global forums. Fine. So we need to be Atmanirbhar. Okay, and therefore what we have conceived is Atmanirbhar is not a protectionist policy that we will not import anything from outside. No, no, no. It is not protectionist, neither isolationist that we will be doing this thing from ourselves only and we will not get it done by other. No, it is not also that. It refers to just making ourselves good while dealing with the world on our own terms, because Atma Shakti will provide us Atmanirbharta. Okay, fine. And let's move beyond this page to the next page, text and context, very important page. The phenomena of coral bleaching. Okay, and the chances of reef rejuvenation. Fine. It is a very basic kind of article. We all know this thing. Just let me first read the gist and I'll then go inside the article. Coral are marine invertebrates. We know that, or animal that are not possessing a spine. They are in symbiotic relationship with single-celled algae called zooxanthellae. In what they are symbiotic, means plus plus for both. It is a trade-off benefit. Fine. Bleaching happens when coral experience stress in their environment due to change in temperature, pollution or high level of acidity. Over the last couple of decades, climate change has incurred global warming owing to rising carbon emission and other greenhouse gases have made sea water warmer than usual. Fine. So due to global climatic change, there has been a seawater temperature rise over last couple of decades, and this has led to bleaching. Bleaching means what? There is this coral, say, okay, and here lives the zooxanthellae. Now when the temperature rises, the zooxanthellae goes out and zooxanthellae gives color to this coral, so it becomes white, and therefore it is known as, so something, when something becomes white we call it bleaching. So coral has become white, so we call it coral bleaching. And what are the utility of coral? Very important point. It can be written in examination very easily. About 1/4 of marine biodiversity is in coral. Can you imagine this? 1/4 of marine biodiversity. And also coral reef systems generate about 2.7 trillion annual economic value. This is about the GDP of India. Okay, 2.5, 2.7, 2.8 trillion dollar is GDP of India. So coral reef system in the world generates as high annual economic value as the GDP of India through goods, services, trade and tourism. So understand this, how much important it is. 1/4 of global of ocean biodiversity, right? Marine biodiversity plus economic value comparable to GDP of India. How much? Greater than 2.5 trillion dollar. Can you imagine this? How important it is and how quickly we are we are losing it. Fine. So what is the background of this? On March 25, it was confirmed that Australian Great Barrier Reef. You know where is Australian Great Barrier Reef? If this is Australia, this region. Okay, Great Barrier Reef. Fine. So the reef is experiencing a mass coral bleaching event. Fine. In March 25, it was reported that the Great Australian Barrier Reef is experiencing mass coral bleaching event. Okay. Now let's move. What are coral reefs? Coral that we have already read. Coral are of two types: hard coral and soft coral. Hard coral are called hermatite or reef building. They will build reef and extract calcium carbonate. Okay. What this reef is built of calcium carbonate, CaCO3. Fine. And therefore they become white when zooxanthellae leaves it. And soft coral polyps, however, borrow their appearance from plants, attach themselves to such a skeleton of hard coral, and then an older skeleton build their, and then they attach themselves to such a skeleton and older skeleton built by their ancestors. Soft coral also add their own skeleton to hard structure over years, and these growing multiple layers gradually form coral reefs. Okay, so one coral came, two coral came, three coral came, and they started depositing it, and over millions of years it will become a reef kind of structure. Coral shares a symbiotic relationship with single celled algae called zooxanthellae. Okay, the algae provides coral with food and nutrients which they make through photosynthesis using sunlight. In turn, coral give algae a home and key nutrients. The zooxanthellae also give coral their bright color, as I have said. Now, the Australia's Great Barrier Reef is about 2,300 kilometer stretch, has a stretch of 2,300 kilometers. Okay, 400 different type of coral, 1,500 species of fish, and 4,000 types of mollusks. Fine. What is coral bleaching? Coral bleaching happens when coral experience stress in their environment due to change in temperature, pollution, high levels of ocean acidity. Under stress condition, the zooxanthellae or food producing algae inside the coral polyps start producing reactive oxygen species. You understand now what happened? That zooxanthellae will do what? They will produce reactive oxygen species. Fine. And this which are not beneficial to coral, so symbiotic relationship gets broken, because what zooxanthellae was initially giving was beneficial to coral, but now it is not beneficial to coral. Then what will happen? So coral expel the color, giving zooxanthellae. Okay, so what will coral do? They will expel the zooxanthellae from their polyps, which exposes their pale white exoskeleton, giving coral a bleached appearance. This also ends. Look, the symbiotic relationship that help coral to survive and grow. Fine. Now, coral bleaching does not mean coral is dead. Bleached coral can survive depending upon the level of bleaching and recovery of sea temperature to normal levels. Okay, if there is small bleaching, then yes, it can be rejuvenated. If there is a large bleaching and that too for a longer period, then rejuvenation will need time and also efforts, and sometimes we lose coral also. Now, events of mass coral bleaching, this is important. Example, it may be asked in prelims, there is a chance. The first mass bleaching event occurred in 1998 when an El Nino weather pattern caused sea surface in Pacific Ocean to heat up, causing 8% of world coral to die. The second event took place in 2002, past decade. Okay. However, in the past decade, mass bleaching occurrence have become more closely spaced in time. Means, look, 1998, 2002, there has been 4 years. Now it is from 2014 to 17 has been most damaging. It is taking year on year. Fine. Now, why does the coral matter? Obviously, we have seen 1/4 of marine biodiversity and GDP comparable to producing economic services comparable to Indian GDP. Fine. And they take up only 1% of the seafloor. In 1%, they accumulate how many? 1/4 of the marine biodiversity. This is the relevance of coral. They produce food and fuels for global fishing industries. And after that, let's see what is the current condition of Great Barrier Reef. It is it is threatened, grave danger. Okay, and you give it a read. There is nothing more now. Okay, now it is just telling out reefs. Okay, so we end with the equations of coral here, and detecting microplastic in human blood. What is microplastic? Plastic size less than 1 micrometer. Okay, now, and for blood, for diffusion from blood to tissue, microplastic should be less than 1 nanometer. Okay, now we'll give a read to gist first and see that if we can make sense out of it. Microplastic are tiny bits of plastic found in environment in various places, ocean and environment, and now as per recent study in human blood as well. In study, blood from 22 healthy volunteers was taken, and you can see a whooping 77% of people tested carried various amounts of microplastic above the limit of quantification. Can you imagine this? Greater than 3/4 of these 22 healthy individuals had this in their bloods. It is not clear if this microplastic can cross over the bloodstream to deposit in organ and cause disease. Okay, so we are not even clear that till now, and more research is needed to find out that whether these microplastics can cross the blood vessels and go on to deposit in various tissues and organs. Okay, now we'll give it a very brief reading. What kind of plastics were analyzed? PET, polyethylene tetraphthalate plastics, which make food grade bottles. Okay, 700. They were looking for something which was less than 700 nanometers. Fine. There is no universal agreement on what is the definition of microplastic. There is no universal agreement on it. Okay, and what was being searched for? Look, these were being searched for: PET, styrene, polypropylene. Okay, and there was nothing much. Health impact we have already seen here. Significance of this study, we'll know more about the what are the risks posed by these plastics and all those things. What are the key results? We have already seen that about more than 75%, that is 3/4, have shown these things. Fine, let's move further. Okay, with this we come to the end of today's newspaper analysis. I hope that you like it. So fine, so we have done almost all the very important news. Yes, this one is left. I hope it is not very important. Why I am leaving it? It is a very simple argument. I have a very simple argument about it. Okay, there has been an initiative called a Startup India initiative, but as far as mains point of view is concerned, it should all the government schemes, or especially the major one, should be looked or should be analyzed just before 1 month before the mains, because we can have a very clear cut data there. Okay, so with this, finally we end today's newspaper analysis. The read was not as big as yesterday. Okay, so we are ending it now. Fine. So friends, I really hope that you like this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to share and subscribe our channel. You can also visit our Instagram page for more details regarding upcoming courses, and there you can give your views and opinion regarding which course should be launched. Till then, keep studying hard and follow your dreams rigorously. Thank you.